Imagine coming home and you're not allowed to breathe because your roommate is that controlling over plants. I couldn't help but laugh. So after my brother comes home, we're breaking up. So you have 4 years. So we sit down, wedding happens. It is beautiful. So hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica Layla. So it's that time of the month where we check out some crazy r/am I the a-hole stories. This is an ongoing series. There's a playlist down below if you want to go check out the other videos. But in case you don't know what r/am I the a-hole even is, this is a subreddit on Reddit where people will post a story, a situation, something that happened, and pose the timeless question, am I the a-hole? And then people will make judgments from there. I especially love reading, like, the really crazy, like, what ones, and so my main source of finding these stories is this Instagram page called Toxic Reddit. I love their stuff. I've used their stuff in every Reddit video so far, and I just think they're one of the best pages if you really like these crazy, completely not self-aware people stories. So go give them a follow on Instagram, grab your snacks, get some water, cuddle in, and let's just read some of the craziest r/am I the a-hole stories. Am I the a-hole for promising my son something I have to break? So, my son isn't like the typical boy. Well, he plays football, is athletic, flirts with girls, goes to parties, etc. But he has always been someone that really likes to take care of other people. How does that make him not, like... It started when he was a child. We brought his sister home, and he would sleep in her crib with her, and take care of her as you would a parent. He wanted to be the one to feed her, play with her, and put her to sleep. It was really adorable, but we had to put a stop to it, because it got to the point where she only wanted to be around her brother and didn't care about her parents. She still prefers him, which is embarrassing, but at least she's not calling him Dad anymore. He is also always saving animals and bringing them home. We're not big pet people, so we never had pets before. But he snuck in a kitten and nursed her in his room before we found out. His best friend has a sort of bad home situation, so he often does his homework for him, even though we tell him not to, and he brings him food that he cooks himself. It does stress me out that he seems to want to mother someone so bad. He always talks about how much he'd love a dog, and how he's missing out on important childhood memories by not having one. He has begged us for a dog, but we've said no. While he says that he will care for it completely, we know that's not feasible, because he's in school for 9 hours a day, and then also has sports plus extracurriculars. He also has friends that he hangs around, so we hardly see him. Having a dog is a big no. We explained this to him, but he's not happy about it. There's a giant lab that is a stray where we live, and a lot of our neighbors have been feeding it / taking care of it. Yesterday I come home, and my son has brought it inside, given it a bath, and is training it with treats. I said no dogs inside, play with him outside, and kicked the both of them out. Later, my son came in to eat food. The lab was sitting right at the door, waiting for him to come back outside. His sister and him begged me to let them keep the lab, but I said absolutely not. Labs make a lot of mess, and that one has a lot of energy. When my son goes to sleep, he's sad because the lab is still waiting at the door. He says a dog shouldn't be kept outside his whole life. He asked me if the lab's out there by the morning. If he waits outside all night, can I keep it? I decide, sure. All night. Him and his sister kept checking the door to see if the lab was still there, and it was. But I wasn't worried because I thought for sure it would be gone by morning, but it wasn't. He woke up in the morning and opened the door, and the lab was still there. Of course, they were celebrating keeping their lab, but I had to tell them, absolutely not. I only said that because I thought he wouldn't be outside in the morning. I don't want a dog. My son said I'm breaking my promise and is upset at me. My daughter has been crying, am I the a-hole? This is crazy. You managed somehow to raise a child who's very empathetic, clearly very caring. At the end of the day, all I can say is, you managing to have a child that, like, sweet and caring is a miracle. Whoever this parent is, whichever parent this is, you are lucky to have a child like that. So yeah, no deliberation, no thought process necessary, 100%. This parent is the a-hole, not just in this situation, but in the entire, life they're leading. On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for sending a Venmo request for babysitter, hotel, and Uber reimbursement after a dry wedding? A friend from college got married this past weekend. The wedding was 45 minutes from my house, so my wife and I got a hotel room. We checked in, had a few pre-game cocktails, and we Ubered from the hotel to the venue. We sit down, wedding happens. It is beautiful. We get to social hour, as it's called, and there is no booze. Turns out, this was a dry wedding. There is no indication that this was a dry wedding before showing up. I checked the digital version of the invite and website. Nothing indicating this. I'm pissed for a few reasons. Number 1, I might not have RSVP'd. Yes, if I knew this. Number 2, I'm pissed I blew a few $100 on a hotel for the night, babysitters, and Ubers. Yesterday, I heard from my college buddy. He was like, what the F is this a-hole? He was like, what the F is this a-hole? I explained I was mad that this was a dry wedding. The bride had family that are alcoholics, so they opted to not have alcohol as an option. I told him that's need-to-know information. Not informing us of that cost me and our other friends a lot of money. He said I should have asked him and not assumed it was a wet wedding. I said to him, alcohol is a default option. If you change the default, you tell people. He disagreed with that notion. I said, you drink? Why would I think it's dry? We went back and forth for a while. He still thinks I'm an a-hole. Am I? What? The thing is, nobody owes you alcohol at a wedding, and I've never really understood, the societal obsession with ensuring that everybody has alcohol at a wedding. If I were to get married, there would not be alcohol. I do not want to deal with drunk people all night. I do not want to deal with people getting sloshed and being gross. Especially because the bride had a family of alcoholics. There is no way to pull off a wedding and have alcohol and make sure none of the people in that family get affected by it. There's just so much privilege from this person, and I get it. You want to drink at a wedding, I guess that's a thing people like to do, but no one owes you that. So yeah, final verdict, 100% you are the a-hole. On to the next one. Am I the a-hole for charging my roommates a clean air fee to make things more fair? Hello, Reddit. I don't usually use this website, but my roommates told me to post on here in hopes that some outside perspectives will help us settle the situation. Hence the brand new account. The three of us live in a 3-3 and split costs equally 3 ways for the most part. I have a slightly bigger bedroom, so I pay more than my other 2 roommates in rent. However, at the moment, I feel like I'm putting more work into maintaining the environment that we all get to enjoy, and that I should be compensated fairly for that. I have over 100 different houseplants throughout the apartment, including shared spaces like the living room, that I spend hours every week and thousands of dollars caring for, purchasing, and maintaining. My roommates have commented on how pretty some of the plants are, so I know they appreciate having them around as well. Obviously, the presence of these plants contribute to the cleanliness of the air that we breathe in our home. With so many plants in the house, our home air quality is obviously superior to those without houseplants, and with COVID and other air quality considerations, it's basically like having an in-house HEPA air purifier. But the plants are natural, so they're even better! Because I've put so much money and so many hours of work into these plants, I feel that my roommates should contribute to that financial burden by paying what we would call a clean air fee. Something reasonable like $25 a month from each roommate would really help offset the cost of things like fertilizer, new pots, soil, etc., and the time I put into taking care of the plants. I think this is an incredibly fair agreement for my roommates, as they get the benefit of living in a house with organically clean air and not doing any of the work. They think I'm being unreasonable and selfish. I told them I would be willing to compensate.
That is not correct.
And not charge them the fee if they would hold their breath between the front door and going to their bedrooms, which isn't even far. It's not like we live in a huge apartment. So they aren't breathing the plant-cleaned air that they aren't paying for. They think that's stupid and have yet to propose another reasonable compromise, so I think it's pretty clear who is being unreasonable in this situation. So basically, that's where we're at. I'm the one who everyone gives rent money to, and then I write a check to the landlord, so if we don't figure this out by the next time rent is due, it's gonna be a problem. How can I get my roommates to see/understand my side of this? Imagine coming home and you're not allowed to breathe because your roommate is that controlling over plants. I refuse to believe the story is real. Like, the thing is, it's nice that you have plants and everything, but this was kind of your doing. You don't have to have the plants in the house. You don't have to spend that money. And I'm sorry, 100 plants? Like, that's insane. Imagine the amount of bugs. No way this is real. This can't be real. These people aren't real. But I would say, yeah, you are the a-hole. So let's just go on to the next one. I don't even know what to say to some of these. Okay. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend 4 years after my brother returned home from his military enlistment? I, 22 female, was in a relationship with my ex, 22 male, for 4 years, and I broke up with him last month. I'm going to provide some context. My brother decided to enlist in the military after high school. We were always close because our parents were extremely toxic and controlling. However, as a consequence of our parents' toxicity, my brother had a rebellious side to him and would do anything our parents didn't want him to do, and he never listened to them. And so he decided to go the military route instead of pursuing a higher degree. I had a lot of serious discussions with him because I was really worried about him joining the military. I was worried about his physical safety and his emotional well-being. I had almost stopped him from enlisting, but he was determined on doing the exact opposite our parents would have wanted him to do. So he enlisted in the military, the Marine Corps specifically. I met my ex during my first year of college, and we started dating shortly after because we hit it off immediately. When we started dating, I made it clear to my ex that if we were still dating in 4 years, I would break up with him after my brother would return home from his enlistment. Why? What's the context? What? The past 4 years, I was also in touch with my brother, although communication with him was limited, especially when he was deployed abroad in South Korea. He was not having a great time, and it made me really anxious and nervous. I had a lot of sleepless nights and nightmares that something had happened to him. After 4 years, my ex and I were still dating, and over the last year, I reminded him multiple times that we would have to call it off after my brother came home. Why? My ex, however, was becoming really sad and asked me to reconsider it because he really loved me, but I told him no. I had already signed the lease for my new apartment, and I told my ex that I would move out when my brother came home. My brother safely returned home last month, and that was the happiest moment of my life. I had already packed up and shifted to the new apartment my brother and I would be living in. My ex, however, called me inconsiderate because I had destroyed his feelings and that he couldn't believe that I so easily broke up on a relationship of 4 years and that I didn't at all seem sad at all. Was I an a-hole for stringing my ex along for 4 years when I made it clear to him multiple times that this was a temporary thing? I'm very confused. I don't know what the context here is. People in the comment section, of course, are making, like, incest jokes and whatnot, and that's, there's really no way of determining that. Emotional incest is a thing, however. Why couldn't she be with this guy and live with her brother at the same time? Was she living with this guy? Why did they stay together for 4 years? And why did she have to break it off? Nothing about the story really makes sense. I am so lost in the sauce here. I don't know why he would stay with someone who was like, so after my brother comes home, we're breaking up. So you have 4 years. Like, you do you, but I don't see why you even dated this guy for 4 years. Were you trying to replace the presence of your brother? I'm just confused. I'm really confused. I'm confused. So yeah, I would say my final verdict, just speaking personally, is caught somewhere between everyone sucks here and you are the a-hole because it's such a weird situation with not enough context that I can't make, like, a proper judgment on this one. I don't know, bro. We've read a lot of crazy ones already tonight, but I think we have time for one more. Am I the a-hole for remaining positive during my daughter's breakup? My daughter, we'll call her Tina, is 16 years old. Tina and I had a really good relationship when she was growing up, but for the past year or two, we seem to really get on each other's nerves. I don't think it's my behavior that's changed. I think Tina has become a bit of a jerk. Well, earlier today, Tina and I had one of our little disagreements. She had been dating this guy from her school for a few months. We'll call him Chris. He came over for dinner once or twice, and I never really liked him much, but he and Tina seemed happy, so I never said anything. However, when I picked Tina up from school today, her eyes were red, and it was obvious that she had been crying. I asked her what was wrong, but she wouldn't tell me. I gave her a few moments to compose herself, and then I asked her again. I was really curious about what happened to her, and many people tell me that I have mastered my emotions as well, so the least I can do is help others master theirs as well. We went back and forth for several more minutes before Tina finally admitted the truth. Chris had dumped her in the cafeteria in front of her friends. Tina had found this very embarrassing, but I was elated! Yes! What? She now had the opportunity to date someone who I believed was a better person. I began reminding Tina of the negative things about Chris. His chronic lateness, his lack of tact, his disregard for some of my rules. And I expected Tina to forget all about him and snap herself out of it, but instead, this only seemed to upset her more? I was confused by her reaction, but I decided that I wasn't going to engage with it. I tried my best to cheer her up, and only made it worse. Eventually, I just put my hand up and said, "I'm unable to help you. I guess you'll just have to get over it by yourself." When we got home, she slammed the door to her bedroom shut, and I told my wife everything that happened. I expected my wife to dismiss Tina's outburst and chalk it up to teenage hormones, but instead, she took Tina's side. She said that my strategy of comforting Tina was callous, and that I should have acknowledged her pain. I couldn't help but laugh. Tina has no real responsibilities yet. To say that teenage puppy love is painful when it ends is over the top. I chose not to date until college, but certainly wasn't because I was afraid of breaking up with someone. Pretty soon, my wife left the room too, and she seemed almost as steamed as Tina. I don't know what more I can do. I just have a different interpretation of what's going on, yet my wife and daughter are making me out to be some horrible person. I consider calling my mother to ask her opinion, but I'm afraid I'll be demeaned and insulted once again. I'm just so lost here. Am I the a-hole? What the hell? It wasn't just positive feelings. Someone commented this, so I'm kind of stealing from them. I'm not pulling a sniper wolf. Someone commented that he mentioned he was elated. He was elated by his daughter breaking up with someone. There's so many red flags in this story alone that I'm like... And I feel like just playing it down to like, oh, it's just puppy love and they're just, young, like, why does that matter? Why do my kids hate me? This one is so, like, ugh. 100% you are the a-hole. We've read so many crazy stories tonight. I think this is one of the better ones. I feel like the last one was just boring, and this one's like, yeah. Reddit isn't real. I refuse to believe these people are real, and honestly, I do believe that a lot of these stories are like rage bait, or clout seeking, or written by AI, because sometimes the stories don't really add up, or like so many context clues are missing that you're like... Down below is linked a Reddit playlist. I've made a few other Reddit story videos if you want to go check that out, in case you don't want to end your night here. But other than that, I think we're all done here. So many a-holes tonight. What's going on? So thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all here next time.